Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to Basement Politics Unfiltered.
Let's get it poppin'.
Good evening, folks. I am Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight is Sunday, July 24th, 2022. Good evening. I wasn't going to go on, but I will go on for a little bit. I just wanted to discuss some stuff that I read here in the city of Yonkers. I wanted to talk about climate change. So I've been doing some research on that stuff. So I want to wait on that. I don't want to rush it. But in doing so, I stumbled upon an article in regards to the Glenwood power plant. You guys are familiar with the Glenwood power plant? The old power plant over there, the JFK Marina. The inside of it there. Developers are looking to put a brand new facility there. It's been in that state for a very long time. It's been dilapidated and just sitting there for a while. But developers have been looking to purchase the property, and I believe they have, or they're finally got this multi-year deal approved, and they want to convert it into I don't really even know. I'll be honest. I don't even know. What do they want to do there, actually? And what is the point? And who is going to benefit? How is the city of Yonkers, the residents, going to benefit? What purpose is it going to serve for us, right? And that comes with some issues because JFK Marina is going to be gobbled up. I believe Trevor Park also. And that was kind of some of the comments I was making in a meeting not that long ago, the beginning of the year, in regards to these parklands, right? JFK Marina being a parkland. However, they got it approved to the state to go ahead and sell it to developers. But the city council is saying, yeah, we're going to give it to the developers, but then they're going to give it back to the city. And the city council president said, as long as I'm city council president, I will assure that we will always have JFK Marina and Trevor Park, but they want to make that place into a parking lot. And so this is why I speak about the, city council again, for Black women. And that area is a majority, a community that's majority African Americans, Black, residents here in the city of Yonkers, and they utilize the JFK Marina. I've been out there. A lot of Hispanics utilize it, but all people too. White people go out there. So a lot of the, people here in the city of Yonkers utilize the JFK Marina. And Trevor Park has always been a place that's hosted the African American heritage festivals and stuff like that. So where's that going to go? Right. So I'm trying to figure out what they want to do here. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know, but Kathy Hochul has approved and will be giving Yonkers $360.1 million next year in additional state aid. Interesting, huh? Anyway, after a multi-year approval process, developers will finally move forward with their mission, right, to address the most pressing environmental challenges of our time by powering a more human and just future through development, innovation, art, and community, and jobs. That's what they're going to do there, right? That's what the developers and the head of construction is saying is going to be happening there, right? The concept of climate change is all over Yonkers now. As some may know, the Glenwood power plant over by the JFK Marina has plans of being developed into a global home for climate solutions. So I wanted to talk about climate change, and I have my opinions and I give them on this whole climate change thing, and I think it's a big money-making thing, but we'll discuss that tomorrow. Right. So in saying, their mission, right? Again, I'll read their mission again, is to address the most pressing environmental challenges of our time by powering a more human and just future through development, innovation, art, community, and jobs. That's what he says. So what are they doing there exactly? What's going to be developed there? Aside from an art gallery for the upper crust of society, because that's what I got out of this entire article, right? It will contain offices and experimental labs for scientists. Right. It will have a central performance hall with a moving stage, a full kitchen for catering, and a restaurant on site. It will include electric charging stations for electric cars and bikes. And it will include a dock where they will launch canoes and kayaks for, or, off. And so it's funny, I was talking to someone today in regards to the Yonkers rowing thing that they do over there on Alexander Street, across from the old city jail. Remember that place? That's funny. That was bought and was supposed to be turned into some art gallery. It was bought below market rate, then sold by the people for huge profits. Anyway, across the street, where the former PAL used to be, they have a Sarah Lawrence thing that they do climate things and stuff there. And then behind that, they have the Yonkers Rowing club. I'm not sure the full name, but it's an organization that gets funding, and this is something I've spoken about. And a source had told me that the individual that runs that program is actually Councilwoman Shanae Williams' boyfriend, and that she managed to allocate money to this program. Right. So is this the canoes that they're going to be launching off this thing? But I was talking to someone who had brought their their child there, and they were complaining about it. Right. So this is what I'm saying about programs and organizations that get funded. Right. What are we actually doing in the community? Because it seems like a lot of things are getting funded that make no sense. But anyway, the individual said he brought his daughter there, and it just was not really kid friendly, although it's supposed to be geared to kids in the community. But he said they had him sit there for like an hour in the sun, training them how to row and stuff like that, and kayak. And then they went really far out. He said they went past St. John's, and and so he said a lot of kids have not returned, and he now mostly sees like it's adults and stuff. So you got to watch where this money is going, and how it's being allocated. Is this a program for kids, or is this just a program that some guy's able to run because it's getting funded because he has a relationship with a city elected official, and it's not really doing much for the community? So, and she does represent that area where JFK Marina, the power plant is located. So, we got to watch that. According to Brian Lindsay, they are turning the power plant into a research facility for different forms of green energy, while bringing all disciplines of climate change out there together under one roof. He wants it to be an attraction for people from all over the world. So again, what is exactly going there, and who is it for? So this is, just again, continuing, my conversation on what exactly it's going on here in the city of Yonkers. What are officials, allowing to be developed here? And how is it going to benefit the people that are here? Or are we just going to be, slowly replaced? Either you get with it or you get out. That's what it seems, right? Because I don't see people from Yonkers being interested in this stuff. I mean, anyone? And I could be wrong. Maybe someone can explain to me. Before they do develop it, however, they're going to have tours there where you can go see the power plant in its raw state as it is now. For anyone who may be interested in stuff like that, you have to actually become a member of this New York City Insiders. It's called Untapped New York Insiders. And if you become a member, you will be able to go and tour the plant. You can see there, tour the power plant. Again, who is this for? This is, for who? The Glenwood power plant, right? It's a great architectural wonder, according to the individual. And they plan on doing a lot of fancy schmancy stuff there. But again, is that anything really that's going to benefit the community, especially the individuals that live in that, section of Yonkers? I mean, got to start seeing the writing on the wall. Start seeing the writing on the wall. All right. So, and, you got to understand also, why do you think they give certain individuals money? And I don't want to say anything, sometimes I don't want to put too much details out there, so maybe it doesn't make sense, but there's certain individuals that are receiving money right now. They're happy-go-lucky. They're setting up shop and everything. And I think it's being done to keep them either quiet or distracted from the fact that this is happening in that part of Yonkers, because they might be normally, individuals who would say something about it. Who would say, "Hey, yo, what's going on? I mean, we're being replaced. Or they're buying up all of Woolworth and Ravine and Glenwood, and they're putting some fancy schmancy hall with a moving stage where they're going to do scientific experiments and, house all these disciplines of green energy and climate change under one roof." And let me tell you, everyone, on that part out of Yonkers is excited for this. I'm sure. All right. They're willing to give up the JFK Marina for it. So certain individuals, they're giving them money so they could, not make a big stink about it, I think, anyway. And they're happy-go-lucky. And by the time people really realize what's going on, it's done. It's over. So I don't know. I just wanted to just mention that. I don't know if anyone's really interested in that. But I thought that was just strange. Like, what are they doing there? How is that benefiting Yonkers? And I also saw another article, and I want to talk about the police, because we've been talking about the police recently. Moving on. Changing the police, reckoning with the past. And it talks about the former history of the Yonkers Police Department. I used to whoop a lot of people's ass pretty much. And I know a lot of guys that got their asses whooped by the police. And I've spoken to former Yonkers police officers who have told me this, stories, some of them that I, I've heard myself. So it has happened, but the Yonkers police has come a long way. They've really changed a lot and they've really improved. And so I show them a lot. I give them a lot of support. Some people have reached out to me, not so supportive of the police, and I understand, and I'm not saying they're wrong for how they feel, but I do understand that not everybody is as supportive. For a long time, the police department in Yonkers has had a reputation as overly aggressive, especially when it came to policing the poor parts of the city. There were lots of stories of bad apples, police officers who allegedly roughed people up or planted drugs during random stops and arrests. Eventually, the U.S. Department of Justice stepped in to investigate. And, we've heard all the stories about the FBI was in town investigating. And I don't want to say that's allegedly. That actually happened. Okay. People got roughed up and drugs were planted. But I'm talking about this a long time ago. Now the Yonkers Police Department says it's transforming. With the help of a progressive police chief, it has adopted new policies and procedures to minimize force and make the police more accountable to the public. As embedded in a partnership with the Marshall Project, continues its look at the police reform in one American city. We confronted a question many of those who say they were mistreated by the police have raised. Is it enough? For some alleged victims, the answer is clear. There can never be real reform until police have fully accounted for their wrongs in the past. I think it's getting better, right? We're working to have better relations with the police. And so hopefully we'll improve there. But moving on, and I don't want to be on too long. I just want to talk about a couple of things that I read. Speaking about reform, bill reform, recently, Lee Zeldin. Anyone know who that guy is? Lee Zeldin was attacked by some guy who had some kind of weapon, right? They don't even know what it was. And he's running for governor. He was at a campaign rally. He was giving a speech, and some guy just runs up on stage and says, I forgot what he was saying. Not you, you're out. I want you out. You're done. Or you're done, or something like that. Some crazy nonsense, right? It completely coming out of nowhere. And so they got him off. Fortunately, he didn't hurt the congressman. He's okay. But bail reform allowed this individual to get released right away. I mean, he attacked the congressman with a weapon and was released. Right. So it's crazy. And it's interesting because Lee Zeldin has actually criticized bail reform. He's a Republican who represents the 1st congressional district here in New York State. He's been in the House of Representatives since 2015. Right. And his districts include 2/3 of Eastern Suffolk County, among others, in Long Island, former New York State Senate for the 3rd Senate District. And he's running against Kathy Hochul for governor here in the state of New York. But he was recently, again, in the news because of this attack by some deranged individual. Where was his security detail at? Somebody probably got fired, I'm sure. He should never got that close. I just want to give you a little bit about Lee Zeldin. He voted for the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act, which prohibited abortions after 20 weeks, with the exception of rape, incest, and if the birth presented a danger to the mother's health or life, right? He added an amendment to the Student Success Act, which allows states to opt out of Common Core. And I just want to name a couple ones that I think are kind of important and something that a lot of people have talked about. Common Core, something that many parents have complained about. And some say it was designed to just completely destroy our educational system. And as I mentioned, he opposed New York bail reform. Right? He was actually experiencing it firsthand after this. Criticized the Stony Brook Hospital for firing employees who did not get vaccinated. So I agree with him on that. Well, the thing about the bail reform, I wanted just to read that really quick. The attacker, the man who attacked him, first of all, said he didn't know who he was, had no idea he was a political candidate, which I don't know. I think he may be lying, right? But he sounded like a little, he might be off. And so they didn't even, require him to get a psych evaluation, nothing, just bail reform. You attack a congressman on stage with a weapon, you get released by a local judge. Fortunately, the federal government is not having it, and they picked up the guy. And they are going to, handle it themselves, because you can't just go around doing this. I mean, what message does that send? You can attack a congressman with a weapon and you will be released the next day. That's crazy, right? That's unbelievable. And so Kathy Hochul is a part of that bail reform stuff. He's criticized her because of it, especially after it happened. Zeldin criticized the judge's decision, using it as another example of failed bail reform. And I just want to tell you, in 2019, bail reform law, if you don't know, in New York, eliminated pretrial incarceration for people accused of most nonviolent crimes. The judges were also given the option to set bail for nearly all cases involving violent felonies. Right. But this guy right here didn't get no psych evaluation or nothing. The guy claimed not to know who the congressman was. And he sounded like he needed an evaluation, right? Not to just be released right away. So thankfully, the guy was not injured at all. And hopefully that guy will get the help he needs, because it doesn't sound like he's just, wanting to kill the guy. I think something is wrong, not all there, right? As my dad would say, a few sandwiches short of a picnic. So anyway, folks, tomorrow I want to talk about climate change. I want to get away a little bit from Yonkers, but I do want to tie it back to Yonkers, right? Because Yonkers has received a lot of money through climate change initiatives. As I showed earlier, there was some charging stations going up over at the High Bridge Plaza off Central Avenue. And, this money is coming in. What is it all about? What is climate change all about? Is it a real danger? Are we really, facing a crisis here? Joe Biden wants to issue a national climate crisis, which means he would be able to release money for all these climate programs and initiatives and stuff. But is it just one big money-making scheme? Just another money-making scheme. I want to talk about that tomorrow. Also, I want to show some clips of a woman who worked for NATO. Actually, she was in the military. She worked her way up and was working with NATO for many years. And then she realized, just before she left the military, that the government is playing us. They're lying to us. A lot of what we see on the media is not the truth. And the media works along with the government to kind of hide a lot of things from us. And she has been working ever since to expose that. She became an attorney after leaving the military and started an organization that brings information. Actually, she started this in the 90s, so she was kind of one of the originators. She kind of started an online source of information about truths about our government. And she knows it because she worked from the inside. And one of her biggest fears is the mass surveillance program that's continually being implemented throughout the country. A lot of laws have been passed that we don't even know about. They get, put in the middle of these green bill laws and all these other drug laws and gun laws and, things that we support. And, and they kind of hide it in there, and they pass laws that are actually slowly taking away our freedoms. So I want to talk about that and some of the things that have been passed through some of this green climate change initiative and bills and stuff that they're, proposing or introducing or passing that we should be concerned with. We should be very concerned with. Mass surveillance. Are you concerned with the mass surveillance program that our government has been setting up for a very long time now? Do you think those speed cameras are about just catching people speeding? Or what about the red light cameras? And now they're putting facial recognition software into those cameras so they can locate people in real time. And what about those light poles that they've been installing even here in Yonkers? They've been installed through funding from the federal government. Those digital neon lights, LEDs, that they say save a lot of energy and are great and going to help with climate change. Well, those things can actually track people. They can communicate with your phone. So as you're walking past these light poles or even driving, it's picking up your signal from your phone and it's identifying your location in real time. So is this really about climate change? Is it really about gun laws? Or is it about more surveillance, slowly taking away more of our freedoms? And did you know that NATO is allowed to conduct operations here on U.S. soil? So these are things I want to talk about tomorrow. I know we often talk about Yonkers politics and stuff like that. And, you're done now. He said, you're done now. What do you mean? He said, you're done now. Oh, you're done now. Yeah, the guy, he was saying, you're done now. Yeah. Something about him, he it was not all day. Maybe need to give a psych evaluation, not just release him, right? But anyway, so tomorrow I want to talk about some of that, get away from Yonkers local politics and talk about issues that really are impacting us all, whether we really realize it or not. And, are you concerned? Let's talk about it. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Thank you for joining me. I'm up out of here. Have a great night, folks. Have a great week. Be blessed. And if you didn't catch the podcast last night, check it out. Talk about the Yonkers City Council. I give a little bio on each and every one of them. Talk about which districts they represent, how long they've been in office, and all that good stuff, and what they've done thus far. So check it out. It's a good episode. I'm Freddie Vasquez. I'm up out of here. Be blessed. Peace out. See you later. Sayonara. I'm Freddie Vasquez. That was your short, quick basement politics episode. Don't forget, join me tomorrow. Let's talk about climate change and going green. Is it about going green or about the green? Is climate change all a big money-making hustle? Join me tomorrow. Let's talk about it. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Have a great night. Have a blessed Monday.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins.
No!